Harrison Seavey was a true patriarch of the Church on the Cape, and he died this past August, on August 25th. But it was in April that his nephew, Tom Bradbury, wrote this piece for our chancel drama today. And the person who will be playing the role of Harrison is his son, Stedman, and the person playing the role of Eleanor is Eleanor's daughter-in-law, Betsy Seavey. I want to say that this play is, yes, a tribute to Harrison, but it's also a tribute to Harrison's faith. He was a staunch and steady believer, and he was also a preacher. And he preached all the time, and you will hear his words of wisdom, his words of devotion in this chancel drama, The Seavey's Christmas of 1945, written by Tom Bradbury.
It's just as lonely up here on deck as it is down below. This is the worst Christmas ever. To make matters worse, we just crossed the international date line. Now I have to endure 2 lonely Christmases in the same day. At home there's snow and light and love and laughter. Here it's a day cramped below deck, imprisoned with a crew of unshaving men, sweating, playing cards, drinking beer, smoking. I know that they want to be home every bit as much as I do, but we seem to be feeding off each other's homesickness.
From all outward appearances, everything's the same. The church is as beautiful as always. Last night at the annual Christmas pageant, the children recited the lines that they'd worked on for so long. They needed a little encouragement from their teachers, but mostly the parents were more nervous than the kids. They did a wonderful job and brought smiles and even some laughter to a delighted audience.
Everything is gray. Inside this metal box is gray. The walls are gray, the floor is gray, the ceilings are gray. And when you come out here on deck, all you see are the ships of the convoy steaming with us from the Philippines to Pearl Harbor. All gray, all shrouded in this gray mist.
The highlight of the evening, I think, for young and old alike, is when Santa arrived. He came right down that middle aisle with a great big ho, 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 and there wasn't a face in the congregation that didn't have a smile on it. With the help of the older kids, he passed out the gifts that were under the tree, making sure that each child had something. Then he opened the sack that had been on his back and seemed surprised to discover that it was filled with boxes of candy. He might have been surprised to discover there was candy there, but no one else was. He took joy in passing it out to all. Brownie Clough makes a great Santa. It's amazing that none of the children really seem to recognize him. I guess they were just swept up in the spirit of the season.
6 months have passed since Germany surrendered, and 2 months have passed since Japan signed the surrender on the Missouri. How we cheered. I have enough points so when I reach stateside, I'll be eligible for discharge.
Or both.
That was not part of the script.
Then it's home to Cape Porpoise, as fast as I can get there.
I can hear your father turning over right now. In many respects, it was the best Christmas Eve in years. The war is over, and our men are coming home. There have been so many from this church and this town that have gone so far and seen so much. Woodrow Landry, Drusilla's husband, was in the landing at Iwo Jima. My brother, Milton Bradbury, is on his way home from Africa. Emery Huff is commanding his own ship. His brother and a friend to all of us, Don Huff, won't be coming home. His plane was shot down just before his tour of duty was up. How tragic, how sad. But at long last, the war is over. Maybe now we can get back to normal. The carols seemed as though we were sung louder than I remember last night. And when Silent Night ended the service, I could see tears in almost everyone's eyes.
I wonder what they're doing right this minute. I bet they're at my father's house at Paddy Creek. What a scene that always was on Christmas Day. We had a big house and 3 bedrooms, but with 6 kids, all the boys had to sleep in the attic. It was hot in the summer, cold in the winter, but I loved it. The rafters were exposed and rods were nailed between them on which we hung our clothes. From my bed, I could look through the front window and see the gentle sweep of light from Goat Island. That is, unless it got so cold that the windows frosted over. Every Christmas morning, I'd wake up early, get dressed quickly in the cold. I can remember rubbing a hole in the frost so that I could see out to the cove. The creek was iced over, fresh coat of snow on the ground. My brothers would join me, and we sneaked downstairs to see what Santa had brought, and we'd squeal with delight and anticipation. And now imagine I have a child of my own to do the same. It's her first Christmas, and I won't be there to see it. And in fact, it's her first Christmas, and I have not even yet seen my daughter.
Oh, how I wish Harrison were here. How he loves Christmas, and how he would love seeing Patty playing with all the paper and the ribbons and the bows. He would have enjoyed seeing her receive her very first box of candy from Santa. He would have loved to be here now, here with me and the family in this place. I don't think I've ever met anyone who loved friends, family, and church more than Harrison. How glad I am that we left the city and moved here. It's funny how life works, or as Harrison reminds me, how God works in our lives. When the Depression hit, my father ended up with nothing. No home, no job, no food, no future, no hope. My brother Ralph died of diphtheria. My older brothers, Wilbur and Milton, supported us all with a paper route, making 3 cents a week for each delivery. Then, out of the blue, my grandfather died and left us a house in Cape Porpoise. We moved to this little village, and how our lives have changed. Harrison says that we must always have faith. How true that is.
Dad was right. I did have some close calls. In Buckner Bay in Okinawa, an alert shipmate threw his body on top of 4 of us, knocking us to the deck just in time to avert a disaster. Then there was the time when a doctor had to board the ship by way of a boatswain chair in order to cure me of a fever. You know, I was scared at times like that. But to tell you the truth, I was never as scared as the time as when I was at the church on the Cape. I was trying to heat up the church prior to a winter service. I put so much wood in the basement stove that the metal turned a bright, glowing red. I thought for sure I was going to burn that church down. You want to know what got me through times like that? Faith, a deep and abiding belief in God that was looking out for me. No matter what happened, everything would be fine. I had faith. It's unlike me to have been so low. What do I have to complain about? God has kept me safe through a terrible conflict. He has given me a wife and daughter that I'm going home to. It won't be long before we're all together. A whole new life is about to begin. I remember what else Dad taught me. Meet each problem of the day as it arises. Don't fret, excite, or condemn, but meet your problems with favor, calmness, responsibility. Don't be without emotion, for it's part of the divine plan. Cry when it's time to cry, for doing so will release your inner sorrows. Laugh when it's time to laugh, and you will extend your joy. Pray when you feel like praying, for it's then that you communicate with God and gain His wisdom and comfort. Above all, never forget to give thanks for a safe passage through each dark night and for the gift of each new day. Give thanks for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon you, and as you feel their warmth, pass them on to your loved ones and all those who will benefit by your spirit. We are all special in God's sight. Don't be afraid to let people know that. Look, fog is lifting. The moon is breaking through the clouds. Look at how full and beautiful it is, and how the light sparkles across the ocean. It looks as though it's lighting our way home. What a wonderful night it's turning out to be. Still, holy. I wonder if Eleanor will be looking at that same moon.
Oh, look, the moon is so full and